Hello and welcome to Ecom Stand Up with Daria and Belle, live from Rio de Janeiro again. How are you, Belle?
Second. I'm great.
Yeah?
I'm great.
Are you great? It's our fourth day, which is crazy. We actually fly home tomorrow, which is very sad. I think we've done a lot of really, great discussions, great strategizing. We have to, now we have to put it down into a plan. I feel like we've had all of the conversations we need to have, and now we need to map it out.
Yeah.
Right. So
there has to be a spreadsheet.
There has to be a spreadsheet. There has to be a calendar.
And I think that's a good segue into what we're talking about.
Hey, how good is that? We're literally talking about what we would do. So today's topic is growth strategies for 2026 and what we would do. And actually what we are doing. We may not be an e-commerce brand, but we are a brand and we are trying to grow.
Yeah.
Right? So we have to retain customers. We have to acquire new customers. Exactly. It's obviously a different sales cycle because what we're selling is quite a bit more expensive than what most of you are selling. So it's a little bit different in terms of thought, but overall, similar strategies, right? We're talking about what channels we want to be on. We're talking about what
alternative channels for this year. We can't just throw money at advertising, right? So interestingly, it's had a really, really good result for us, but we don't get a huge amount of clicks.
Well, it's conversion, right? We actually do get a good number of clicks. It's the conversion piece. And actually we did play around a lot with this last year, right? Where we had some ads running on Google. We actually did Meta as well. And we played around with, should we have a form directly through Meta? Should we send them to a landing page? Should we send them to our home page? What should the form look like for getting them to sign up? So it's a lot of really similar things. I think obviously one of the big differences is that our product tech stack looks much different than yours does. And I think I'd like to ask you, Belinda, what are your must-have and nice-to-have apps for 2026?
For a Shopify store?
No, for a farm.
I thought you meant for us.
No, for a Shopify store.
All right, for a Shopify store that is D2C.
That is D2C.
D2C brands on Shopify, tech stack on Shopify. Here's what I'm going to say, and I think this is very, very important. Get your tracking sorted out. What did Christian Horner say? Toto, it was a few years ago, and Toto was saying, da, 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 da.
This is Formula One for those who don't know.
Christian Horner was fix your fucking car.
He said it to Toto?
Yeah, they were having an interview.
He's right. No, we don't. McLaren fixed their fucking car, though. McLaren's car is fantastic right now.
All right, so
Papaya
orange.
Oh,
just dreaming about Toto.
Well, and what are the apps that you'd use for that? I think people struggle with.
All right, so here's the big thing. Is Google Analytics 4 working for Shopify stores? Or do we hear from our clients every day? It's double counting. The marketing team can't see their attribution coming through Google Analytics. What's happening? Now, the reason for this is because Shopify, it's almost sandboxing. They're sandboxing. It's in a section called customer events, which is events, so let's call them engagement, that customers take on your store. Also used for other things as well, but sort of at a basic. So Shopify wants you to connect using the official Google and YouTube app. Within that, you can do Google Ads, YouTube, everything that you want to do there. And it sandboxes the tracking pixel. Why? Because consent has to fire first, then the tracking pixel. You can't do everything in customer events. So here's the thing. We had a client just last week who wants to track clicks on variants. Now, interestingly enough, variant events don't fire through, you can't do it in customer events because it's on a product view level.
Sure.
So we have to do that through GTM. To answer your question very simply, Google Tag Manager. Make sure that your events are set up. If you need help and are looking for something to create those events automatically, then I guess use an elevar. It's highly expensive, but if you need the ability to be able to use their data layer, it does make it somewhat easier. Yep. Otherwise, talk to your developers, set up your events in Google Tag Manager. They fire in Google Tag Manager after consent. They then go through to GA4.
Really quickly, what about Little Data?
Do like Little Data. Little Data UK do some amazing things with data. So yes, I would definitely. That's like a low cost, robust option. Definitely do that. In fact, I need to speak to them next week about the variant.
So of course, Belinda only cares about tracking, which again is very important because if you don't know what your customers are doing, you are just driving blind.
So I just want to talk quickly about a triple whale or a rocker box. I don't think they're managing it because they've got their own platform and attribution and everything like that. Google Analytics still is pure, so do a combination. If you can't get Google Analytics right, do a combination. Use VLOOKUP on an Excel spreadsheet using Shopify data.
I know we're veering a little bit, but I want to talk about attribution quickly because I think we are
in a post-attribution.
I think we're in a post-attribution world. We were talking in a previous episode about zero-click events.
Zero-click marketing. Yeah.
Zero-click marketing. And I think what we realistically know is that when you're not seeing an ad in one place, you're seeing it in 7 places. And which one you click on, and they all have their own attribution models that don't really make sense. Is it first click? Is it last click?
Also, how long is the session?
How long is the session? How long is your journey as a customer from first ad to purchase? Right? I think that ultimately, yes, you need to have some sense of what's working, but you also need to be everywhere, realistically. And then what you mostly need to do is not necessarily so many people are buying from Meta or so many people are buying from search, because realistically they're everywhere. But you can know if they're coming from paid or from organic or from email, and you can optimize based on that. I don't think that optimizing based on channel is the way to do it, unless my only argument will be direct sales. So TikTok Shop, obviously, Meta Shop, which doesn't exist anymore because it now pushes you into the website. Shop app is another one, and then obviously you have Amazon. So those are obviously shopping channels, and soon to be GPTs.
Soon to be GPTs. But the question is, how do you look at that? So what I'm saying is, at a basic, don't use the reporting feature necessarily in Google Analytics 4, but make sure you're firing everything through Google Tag Manager into GA4, and then talk to someone like us who can create custom reports for you, where we can, it's not illegal, but we can tie events to we can indirectly tie an event to a purchase. And we can look at tying in order ID in Shopify.
Right, I need to pull the mic away from Belinda for a second, because we can't just talk about data for 30 minutes.
So these are the only apps I'm interested in, because the only recommendations I can make to my clients is based on data.
All right, well, I'm going to make
I want you to talk about apps now, because let's talk about that Tolstoy. Let's talk about this video app.
Well, I think realistically, so it's a good point that you made.
Yeah.
So number one, and this is hopefully an obvious one, but you need an email marketing app.
That's a good idea.
Obviously we use Klaviyo, but you've actually had some good success with MailChimp, and there are some good ones.
MailChimp and Shopify broke up a few years ago, but they seem to be having a second honeymoon. I ran really good campaigns, so much simpler than Klaviyo to get the flow set up. So kind of interesting. You've got your constant contacts, your Brevos, your this, your that. So I would say is the gold standard.
And by the way, Klaviyo, and this is super interesting because the next thing I was going to talk about is agentic shopping, which for me is a nice to have. It's very dependent on your catalog.
Yeah.
I think a really solid use case is a nutrition or supplement site where people are trying to ask, I need something to help me sleep at night. I think another solid one is maybe like a wine store where you're, saying, hey, you have a dinner with parents and you kind of want to talk through some AI for what a good solid product is that you have. Hair care, there actually are some really good use cases now that I'm thinking about it. I think, I have this kind of curly hair. What products do you recommend for me? So there are certainly solid use cases. The reason I bring this up, there's some amazing AI apps out there. I think if you're dipping your toe into it, Klaviyo actually just released as part of their, so they released an AI agent for support and shopping. And they also released a customer hub of sorts that plugs into loyalty, orders, support tickets. So it's kind of, I don't know, again, we talked, I think, on one of our shorts about bundling and unbundling. I think we're in a series of bundling it's so funny because Yotpo, right? Remember when they bundled everything and they had everything?
I know.
And then they unbundled to focus on specific things. And now Klaviyo is bundling. So we'll see what happens. I am generally a fan of bundling when you have a system that really works, when you're testing the waters, because it's going to be a lower cost to bundle with an app you're already using than to use something else.
That is a huge point. Just kind of make it again. You need to keep, if you're launching, keep your costs as low as possible. Just do everything through Klaviyo.
That being said, if you think this is a really solid plan for you, I will say Klaviyo, agentic shopping, and I'm not sure about some of the other ones, don't let you feed in external sources, whereas something like a Malingo does. And you can actually have more of a front seat in training your agent with something like Malingo. So I think agentic shopping is here. A lot of people are offering it. It's on the border of must have and nice to have, I think, depending on your store and depending on your SKU count.
Do you think we can get Klaviyo to sponsor this video?
Maybe Malingo. If you have, again, like a few hundred products, once it becomes helpful to sift and filters may not do it for you, then I think that an AI agent is solid. Or when you have a lot of data to sift through, right? If you have a really long page with protocols and this and that, and it's like no one's actually going to read it, let an AI agent read it for you. So that's on Agentic.io, email platform. Reviews.
Let's just talk about reviews. Now, I know you can do it in Klaviyo, and we have clients that are going to do that because they're just starting out.
Yeah.
Or they've just migrated and, they just want something solid and all in one place, reviews, SMS. However, if you were looking at a tech stack, because that's what is your tech stack this year?
Yeah.
So give me your top 3 reviews apps. Or ones that you used. I mean, okay, we're not. It was a joke about Klaviyo sponsoring because that's one thing about us. And I want to make this very clear, and I put it in the call notes. We are platform agnostic. We are app agnostic. It's a struggle for us to even put the partnerships we have with the apps on our website because we're like, if it doesn't work for us or it doesn't work for the client's needs, it's like, get out of here, Klaviyo. We're not interested.
I think our top 3 review apps are just Yotpo, Okendo, and Judge Me. And I think it's really Yotpo and Judge Me, unfortunately. Yotpo, I think, is probably best in class. And I actually agree with their pivot to focus on reviews solely because, for example, their AI review engine is really solid, right? The summary of what people are saying and being able to filter by reviews is really solid. I think Okendo is great. I think it's really only worth it if you have a really strong segmentation program and you're using their post-purchase questions to create segments. So it's a very specific product.
Does Yotpo do attributes like Okendo does?
I don't think they ask questions like 25%. Maybe they do.
Okay, so there's a case for that, but maybe not.
So again, if you're selling supplements and age is important and gender is important, and you want to ask questions about how old are they, even, their weight range and things like that, it may be helpful in that element.
I will say, Judge Me it's like this, it's not as fancy as, but it never stops working.
No, so Judge Me, the reason I recommend it,
robust.
The reason I recommend it is that it's the best for your money. Right?
Good.
It's super low cost. You need reviews on your site unless you don't. unless you run a test and your conversion rate goes up, which can happen, and we recommend it. Always test. Okay, so reviews, AI shopping, email marketing. So here's another one, a checkout app. And I think if you're on Shopify Plus, it's a must. Because I think the ability to upsell, free gift, trust badge, testimonial, really cleanly convey just a little bit for your customers to just like press the few buttons they need to press. I think that's critical. And for me, it's even a big reason why people should be on Plus. Because I think that one, the ability to test that, get that extra revenue, it's
when it works. When it works.
It works. When we talk about growth, it's one of the primary factors. I'm trying to think. I think most of the rest, loyalty, I think is nice to have.
Checkout app, Checkout Buddy, and or
Checkout. Honestly, I don't know all of the names of them. Checkout Buddy is great. Checkout Blocks
was one
is
of the
basic.
first to come out.
No, and it is. It's really great. And then the one I sent you yesterday, it's like Function Creator. We'll put them in the show notes because I honestly, it's I don't remember all of the names of them, and there are more coming out pretty frequently. And then I think a lot depend on business case, right? So for example, I know we're talking D2C, but if you're B2B, right, and you're worried about email notifications, right? And you're worried about invoices because Shopify doesn't have PDF invoices. You can't send things to multiple people because it's a D2C platform first. Yeah. You have something like Sufio, which will allow you to create an invoice template and will allow you to add CCs onto certain accounts so that you can send accounting and all of that, various invoices. So I think there's case by case basis, right? I think another B2B tool is a wish list app, because I think a lot of people, depending on if you're in like the furniture design space, kind of create a wish list of, oh, I'm designing this, here are the things. And it's more of a saved cart, if anything, but there's obviously a lot of business case reasons for that. I think loyalty, I touched on this briefly. For me, it's a nice to have. The only reason it's a nice to have is that it does require effort. Yeah. And it requires, it's not a set it and forget it, oh, you have points, redeem them. Maybe you'll get some ROI out of that. But I think ultimately you really, really need to be smart about how you're setting up your points, how you're letting people redeem them.
How you're using it. So for me, loyalty isn't about having a loyalty app. It's about sitting down, doing something like what we're doing, taking the time to discuss what your loyalty program is. What do you expect it to accomplish?
Well, and here's what most people do when they do set it and forget it, and what I don't like. Exactly. Well, so I would say the most common loyalty thing you see is like $1 per $100, 1 point per $100, something like that. And then you can redeem points for product or discounts. Very basic. What I think works, and Sephora did this, I don't know, 20 years ago, maybe more, and they've kept it because it works so well. You get points for purchases. Every time you check out, you have a choice of 2 gifts, the lower tier or the higher tier. It's like the 100-point or the 500-point tier. Those gifts cycle, right? And they're not something you can buy. It's a gift only. So it's exclusive and it gets people to buy it. If I can just like there's nothing in my head that makes it exciting to get $5 off a product I'm already buying. It's just a discount. It's like not exciting. So, but to get something like, oh, you have rewards, get this exclusive like travel set or a perfume set or whatever it is, even if it's something that's not your product. I think there's something interesting there. If you partner with another brand to do some exclusive things, I think that's really cool. So I think loyalty is a nice to have. Yeah, I think it works really well if you put the effort to make it a solid loyalty program. All right, what else? I'm like blanking on.
I'd like to touch on which something is a complete nice to have. Okay, so I'd like to touch a little bit on site speed. An A/B testing app. The A/B testing apps add site speed. I mean, they slow it down. You've got to
Shopify's building it in. We don't know when. We don't know how good it'll be.
they came out with the agentic storefront first because that's the buzzword. That's the new headless. I'm hoping they build it in, but I don't know, like with price, they're not going to be able to do price testing out of the gate. It's going to be confusing. Be aware that there are some apps, and this is kind of interesting. If you don't need them all the time, you may have to carry on paying for them, but uninstall them.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
Get rid of them on and off. Yeah. Just because of site speed and performance issues.
All right. So well, now UGC, whole story, Reels, Reel Up. I see the value. I see the revenue. I just see the slow loading product page. See it crawling because you want like 100 videos. I get it. I know that it works, but it hurts my heart.
It hurts your heart. I think what's interesting about UGC is, so I think again it's very specific to the brand.
Maybe.
And I think that if you can get away with photo UGC over video, again, depending on the brand, like if you're selling glasses, you can likely get away with a photo reel of like people looking cool in your product.
So quick question, then do you rather spend the money and get that kind of, and you embed it because it's just a piece of content? Because these apps are huge, 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 huge. I mean, we're talking milliseconds. We're talking like 1 or 2 seconds added to your product page. Like, so should you do it?
I think if you do it, it's how do you get the photos and how do you make them update? Because I think they're
convenient.
I think the benefit is that you don't have to update it, right? And it just kind of pulls from your hashtag. Right. And I think that when you have things, and I think there is something interesting. Like, weirdly, people like being featured on websites, so it's like tag with this and like be featured on the site.
Yeah, I get it.
Again, but I think it's very specific, right? So, for example, makeup, I think makes sense. I think maybe hair makes sense. I don't know that like bags make sense. I don't know what see it in action for someone holding a bag does. I could be wrong. Packing a bag maybe is interesting.
Depends what type of bags you're talking about.
I guess that's true.
Are we laboo-booing our Birkins? Like how ridiculous.
Well, and I think you make a good point too. Like Hermes would never, right? No one cares about that. So I think you also have to think about what kind of brand you want to be, and whether curated. Because to your point, Belinda, maybe it is curated influencers or people that you find instead of a live stream, in which case you can do it yourself and it's much faster and all of that.
Also, just quickly, Hermes says they would never. However, they rely on people spending 40 grand and doing it for them for free.
No, I know, but they don't like feature videos of people wearing Hermes bags on their site.
They get people to do it for them for free.
Do you remember what the next topic was supposed to be? Because I do not.
What do you mean? Apps?
There were 4 things we were going to talk about.
Right. Stat.
No, that was 1. All right. We're going to keep going in a second. So, in terms of what's worth investing in, we kind of mentioned that, right, with the app stack and kind of nice to haves and all of that. I think ultimately I'm a very big fan of testing if you can, right? So, if you're testing a program, see if it's working. Testing review, see if it's working. If it does work, spend more on it because you're getting ROI.
So investing in testing.
Investing in testing. Hashtag investing in testing. Testing and investing.
Yeah, I really think you should, because design updates need to be made very, very carefully this year. Simply because of agentic stuff that's coming. Test everything. Do not make a wild design update because it's 2026 and you think your site would look cooler for the AIs if you do this.
Cooler for the AIs. The AIs are like Belinda. They want your website to look like Craigslist. Reddit. So they would work.
Can't wait.
So outside of apps, though, what's worth investing in, which is kind of always the case, is community. And I actually think this has gone down a little bit with the rise of paid, because I think that people aren't so much of the organic content. I feel like I actually don't see much organic content from brands, and I see almost only paid content from brands, which makes me not care about any of their content as much.
Correct.
But if you can create a community and really focus your product and your message around community, how you're supporting community, how you care about your customers, what you're doing for your customers, what you're doing for not, are you donating, are you this? I think that again, investing in community is huge, but in an authentic way. Well, how you do that is the question.
Invest in authenticity, invest in brand, lose the word brand, just invest in your customers.
Yeah. So that's important. Content overall has remained important.
Yeah.
Really good photography, really good videography. You can use AI to some extent, but again, you have to be somewhat authentic. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Be very cautious with people AI. Very, very cautious, because we don't know the legal landscape of people AI yet. So does that make sense what I'm saying there?
Just be aware that there are potential for lawsuits if someone says that an AI person, people, is a likeness of them.
Correct.
That's
and you didn't say this
there is
person,
no precedent yet.
Correct.
And everything like that.
So we don't know that this is a thing, but it's something that our lawyer mentioned, and I just I'm passing on the favor.
Be careful. All right.
So I think photography content continues to be super important. Keeping your site fresh. Community is worth investing in.
Well, let's talk about upgrades in Shopify. Is it worth to upgrade to the next plan? Is it worth, if you're under X revenue, to go to Plus, for example, which it's a big jump in monthly?
Yeah. I mean, I almost never think advanced is worth it. Grow is enough. You basically don't get anything more for advanced. Slightly lower credit card fees and more user accounts. So if you need more staff members, you need advanced. Plus, my argument generally, and I think that I would look at your overall revenue and not just your online store revenue.
Oh.
If you're looking at your online store revenue at around $3 to $4 million is when it's actually cheaper to go to Plus because of processing fees. But I would consider, if you're doing around $4 million across all channels, that you should upgrade to Plus. Even though it's expensive, I think that what does that come out to? 25, 15 grand? I can't do math. What's 2,500 times 12?
More than 15 grand. Yeah, like 27, 28.
I still think that's not actually a massive investment.
No.
It sounds like such a big number because advanced is $399 and growth is $105 or something like that. But in the grand scheme of your costs, it's like 1.5 photo shoots.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that especially what we talked about with checkout, primarily that would be my primary purpose for it. And then I think even though it needs some work and they are working on it, the B2B platform, if you're not selling B2B at all, or if you're selling B2B on Faire, for example, I think it may be worth it because Faire takes 20%, right? So Faire is a fantastic acquisition tool for B2B, and any marketplace. There's many wholesale marketplaces. It's an excellent acquisition tool. If you can get them into Faire and then into your website for future purchases, that's really the goal. And then again, for a simple wholesale product, like if you buy 100, you get half off situation, it's really solid.
How are we on time? I think it's time to wrap up.
It probably is time to wrap up, but a couple of more questions is, what are the first 5 things we would do for every Shopify store?
Just want to go back to the investment. If you have anything legacy in terms of middleware and communicating with warehouses and anything to do with ERPs or anything like that, consider getting it audited and invest in that. All right, 5 things?
5 things we do. 5 things is almost not enough. Like, what are the first 5 things that we look at with any new Shopify store that comes across our plate?
New. So we're talking new launch.
I don't think it has to be new. A Shopify store comes across your plate. what is fine. I mean, it's obviously specific to
Audit.
each brand.
Okay, I'll do 3, you do 3.
Okay.
Audit. I want to hear what the actual pain points are. And if someone comes and be like, well, my conversion rate dropped, that's a good starting point for an audit, but we're going to delve in. So
And
I think just don't make a decision, just discuss it first.
Well, and something people don't do enough, especially in the land of cookies, is user groups. Ask your customers. I feel like nobody does this. And at least in the e-commerce space, very few people do this, but it's one of the main things that like Arnava
from One of One brand.
Yeah, from One of One brands. He does a lot of user groups for like Pepsi.
He does, yeah.
And then I actually just did Anon, which is owned by Burton. They were doing a massive customer research thing. I spent an hour phone call. They basically had a team member doing phone calls with potential customers, asking all sorts of questions about why I ski, what I like about skiing with my son, so many things, like what I look for when I'm buying product. And it's, if you can get in front of your customers and potential customers in exchange for a gift card, no one does it.
Yeah.
And it's huge.
It is huge.
It literally gives you exactly why either people have or have not purchased from you. And especially with cookies and you not always being able to get the accurate data because they've blocked you, this is a really solid way to get it.
I agree. So for me, it's audit. Like a Shopify store comes to us, or people looking to migrate come to us. I'm just like, what are you looking for us to solve? Or do you just want it? In fact, that's my 1, 2, and 3. So you
1, 2, and 3 also is
audit.
No, it's the front end flow, right? It's auditing. Is it difficult for me to spend my money, right? And I think that may be obvious, and you're like, oh no, it's so easy. But then you write a user story, right? So you write a user story. I am a 35-year-old woman who works out, I'm talking about myself now, who works out and has a child and is looking for this product. Put yourself in that mindset and see how long it takes you to find that product, add it to cart and checkout. And do this across browsers and across phones. Check your search. See how long it takes you, because remember, our attention spans going down. So low and going down. So if it takes you more than like 2 minutes to find the product, you've lost me.
Yeah.
So I know it sounds obvious, but these are kind of the building blocks. So I think between audit, user research, and front-end flow testing, I know that's only 3, but those are really the bedrocks of identifying the things.
And what we're saying is, don't chase shiny object.
Oh my God.
We had a client last year who chased a shiny app, didn't consult with us first. We went down a rabbit hole of 3 to 4 months of site speed issues, of not being able to do what we wanted.
Revenue was down like 12%.
Yeah, it wasn't.
And it's now back up.
It wasn't funny. They managed to get out of the contract eventually after us saying, get out now.
It was like a big win of ours for the year.
Right?
Just in terms of, we were so against this thing the whole time, and we're basically forced into it because, again, also consult with your tech partners about said shiny objects before you sign contracts.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
So basically, think before you act in 2026. Don't chase shiny.
Hashtag
think before you act.
Chat soon.